The day began like any other, filled with the promise of routine and the mundane rhythms of life. I woke up to the soft glow of dawn filtering through my window, the chirping of birds outside signaling the start of a new day. As I got ready, I felt a sense of normalcy, a comforting feeling that everything was in its right place. I had plans, errands to run, and a busy schedule ahead. Little did I know that this ordinary day would soon become a pivotal moment in my life, a moment that would test my strength and redefine my understanding of resilience. As I stepped out of my house, the world outside felt vibrant and alive. The streets were bustling with activity. People were rushing to work, children were laughing as they played, and the smell of fresh coffee wafted through the air. I walked with purpose, lost in my thoughts, oblivious to the danger that lurked just around the corner. The sun shone brightly, casting long shadows on the pavement, and I felt a sense of optimism as I moved through the throngs of people. Then, in an instant, everything changed. A loud screeching noise pierced the air, followed by the thunderous roar of an approaching vehicle. I turned my head just in time to see a car speeding toward me, its driver seemingly unaware of my presence. Time slowed as I registered the impending impact, and before I could react, I was struck with a force that sent me sprawling onto the hard pavement. The world around me faded into darkness as I lost consciousness, the last thing I remember being the blinding headlights and the sound of metal colliding with flesh. When I finally regained awareness, I found myself in a hospital room, surrounded by the sterile scent of antiseptic and the rhythmic beeping of machines. Confusion washed over me as I tried to piece together what had happened. My body felt heavy and foreign, and pain coursed through me like a relentless wave. I looked down, to see bandages wrapped around my limbs, my body a patchwork of bruises and injuries. Panic set in as I realized the gravity of my situation. I had been run over, and my life would never be the same again. Days turned into weeks as I lay in that hospital bed, grappling with the physical and emotional aftermath of the accident. The doctors were kind but blunt, outlining the extent of my injuries and the long road to recovery that lay ahead. I had broken bones, internal injuries, and countless stitches that adorned my skin like a cruel reminder of my fragility. But it was the emotional toll that weighed heavily on my heart. I felt lost, trapped in a body that no longer felt like my own, and the fear of the unknown loomed over me like a dark cloud. During my time in the hospital, I faced a barrage of emotions, anger, sadness, and despair. I often found myself questioning why this had happened to me. I had always been careful, always followed the rules, and yet, in a split second, my life was turned upside down. I struggled to come to terms with my new reality, feeling isolated and overwhelmed. But amidst the darkness, there were glimmers of hope. My family and friends rallied around me, their unwavering support lifting my spirits when I felt like giving up. They visited me daily, bringing laughter and love, reminding me of the life I had outside those hospital walls. As I began my rehabilitation journey, I encountered both triumphs and setbacks. The physical therapy sessions were grueling, each movement a painful reminder of my limitations. I had to relearn how to walk, how to perform even the simplest tasks. There were days when I felt like a warrior, conquering milestones that once seemed insurmountable. I celebrated each small victory, whether it was taking a few steps without assistance or managing to lift my arms above my head. These moments fueled my determination, igniting a fire within me to push through the pain. However, there were also days filled with frustration and tears. I faced moments of doubt, questioning whether I would ever regain my strength or return to the person I once was. The emotional scars of the accident ran deep, and I struggled with feelings of vulnerability and helplessness. I learned to lean on my support system, to accept help when I needed it, and to embrace the vulnerability that came with my situation. It was a humbling experience, one that taught me the value of connection and the power of community. As the weeks turned into months, I began to see glimpses of the person I used to be. The journey of healing was not just physical, it was mental and emotional as well. I found solace in therapy, where I could express my fears and frustrations in a safe space. My therapist guided me through the tumultuous waves of my emotions, helping me navigate the complex feelings that arose from my trauma. I learned coping strategies, mindfulness techniques, and the importance of self-compassion. Slowly but surely, I started to reclaim my identity, to redefine who I was in the wake of the accident. With each passing day, I grew stronger, both physically and mentally. I set new goals for myself, envisioning a future filled with possibilities. I wanted to advocate for others who had faced similar challenges, to share my story and inspire hope in those who felt lost. I began volunteering at local support groups, connecting with individuals who were navigating their own journeys of recovery. Each interaction fueled my passion, reminding me of the resilience of the human spirit. I discovered that by sharing my experiences, I could help others find their own strength. Looking back on my journey, I realized that the accident had taught me invaluable lessons about life, resilience, and the power of hope. I learned to appreciate the simple joys of life, to find beauty in the mundane, and to cherish the relationships that enriched my existence. I became more aware of the fragility of life, understanding that our plans can change in an instant. I embraced the uncertainty of the future with open arms, knowing that while I could not change the past, I could shape my present and future. Today, I stand here not just as a survivor, but as a warrior.